All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have 6 o'clock and I'll go ahead and call the regular scheduled council meeting for the month of February to order. And before passing it over to Councilman Waring, I want to recognize our former mayor, Mr. Ricky Waring, is in the back. Thank you. Good to see you being here, sir. And I'll pass it over to you, Councilman Waring, for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And before, Mr. Mayor, before I ask everyone to join me in prayer, I'm going to ask everyone to join me in wishing you a very happy birthday. Yeah. Happy birthday, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for joining us on this special day. Yes, sir. Let's go to our Lord in prayer. Father God, we are just thankful for tonight, for this opportunity we have to do the business of this community you've blessed us with. Lord, we ask you just to be with us as a council and guide us to make good decisions to benefit the citizens of our community and to do what's best for all. Lord, we ask you to watch over our hearts, our minds, and bridle our tongues to make sure that our actions tonight are pleasing in your eyes. Lord, as always, we ask you to please bless our troops that serve our country at home and abroad. We ask you to protect our first responders that protect our community and are with us. Lord, we ask all these things in Christ's name. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm gonna say I respectfully request that I don't have to read something about myself tonight, if that's okay. Okay.
Ms. Beth Meservey, please join me up front. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to start off with an apology. Our town clerk has been nominated for this award at least 5 times. And I kept thinking that one of the first times we did this, it was you that received the award. And I did that in error. I kept saying, oh, sure, guys, sure. And then we did our Employee Excellence Award. But if you don't know, our town clerk has the responsibility of serving all 7 council members, and she does a whole lot more throughout town. She notices our meetings, she gets our information out to the community, she posts our agendas, and she herds the 7 of us, which is extremely challenging. And she does it with a smile. And for all the things that you have done for us, not only when coordinating a municipal association dinner, awards, resolutions, proclamations, we are very thankful for you. You deserve this award times 5.
Thank you.
And next time when somebody comes to me, I will say, let me check first. Okay, so thank you so much.
Accepting the proclamation for Black History Month are representatives from the Divine Nine. Please join us.
Come on, come on. I love it. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
It's good to see Mr. Willis. He always gives me a little bit of artwork. This is the birthday gift right here.
Oh. Before I read the proclamation, I would like to read a little bit about the Divine Nine. Officially known as the National Panhellenic Council, the Divine Nine comprises 9 historically Black Greek letter fraternities and sororities founded between 1906 and 1963. These organizations emerged during eras of profound racial inequality when African Americans faced restricted access to higher education, leadership pathways, and social institutions. In response, the Divine Nine created communities grounded in scholarship, service, cultural pride, and collective advancement. Over the past century, members of these organizations have played influential roles in civil rights advocacy, public service, education, business, the arts, and global humanitarian work, shaping both national discourse and community development. Represented tonight are members from the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, founded in 1906, emphasizing academic excellence, civic engagement, and mentorship. The Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, founded in 1908, the first sorority founded by African-American women, focusing on economic empowerment, environmental stewardship, social justice, and community uplift. The Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, founded in 1911, centering its efforts on youth leadership development, health awareness, and support for military communities. The Omega Psi Phi fraternity, founded in 1911, promoting achievement, health advocacy, talent development, and social action. The Delta Sigma Theta sorority, founded in 1913, advances its renowned five-point programmatic thrust, addressing economic development, educational development, international awareness, physical and mental health, and political engagement. The Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, founded in 1914, champions brotherhood, scholarship, and service with a strong emphasis on community empowerment. The Zeta Phi Beta sorority, founded in 1920, leads community-centered initiatives through Z Hope, focusing on elder care, prematurity awareness, and service outreach. The Sigma Gamma Rho sorority, founded in 1922, supports youth, women's health, and public safety. And the Iota Phi Theta fraternity, founded in 1963, the youngest member of the council, brings a spirit of progressive leadership and community activism, as well as programs supporting veterans, mentoring, and civic engagement. Whereas Black History Month is celebrated each year during the month of February and serves as a time to recognize, honor, and reflect upon the profound contributions, achievements, and resilience of African Americans throughout the history of our nation. And whereas African Americans have played a vital role in shaping the cultural, social, economic, scientific, and political foundations of the United States, often in the face of injustice, inequality, and adversity. And whereas acknowledging Black history is essential to fostering respect, inclusion, and unity within our community, and to inspiring future generations to learn from the struggles and successes of those who came before them. And whereas the town of Summerville is committed to promoting diversity, equity, and mutual respect, and recognizes that celebrating Black History Month is an important step toward building a more informed, compassionate, and inclusive community. Now, therefore, Russ Touchberry, Mayor of the town of Summerville, along with Town Council, hereby proclaims February 2026 as Black History Month in the town of Summerville and encourages all residents to observe this month through education, reflection, dialogue, and community engagement.
To the National Panhandle Council and President.
Do you?
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Next, we have a special presentation, a resolution from the South Carolina House of Representatives for Louis and Patricia Allende. If I can have Representative Robbie Robbins, Kelly LaPlante from the Solicitor's Office, Police Chief Wright, and members of the Summerville Police Department.
Lead the way.
Okay. A House resolution to recognize and honor Louis and Patricia Allende for their courageous and speedy assistance to their neighbor when they saw her being kidnapped, which enabled law enforcement to rescue her quickly. Whereas in March of 2025, a California resident out on bond for attempted murder in California forced his way into the home of Dolores Johnson, an 89-year-old resident of Summerville. And whereas the assailant sprayed her with bear mace and tied her to a chair in the kitchen while the assailant was still inside Miss Johnson's residence, her neighbor, Mr. Louis Allende, arrived at the elderly victim's home to take her trash can to the curb, as he routinely did. And whereas when Louis knocked on the door, he noticed an unfamiliar man behaving suspiciously inside. The man claimed Miss Johnson had been taken to the hospital, a statement Louis immediately recognized as false. Louis sprang into action, returning home to retrieve his firearm and call law enforcement. And whereas the assailant then taped a plastic bag on Miss Johnson's head, tied her with a leash, and forced her to the floorboard of her vehicle and fled the scene with her inside the car. And whereas Louis' wife Patricia ran to the car, attempting to stop the vehicle and retrieve the victim as the assailant quickly reversed out of the driveway. Because of these neighbors' actions, law enforcement was alerted immediately and was able to locate the victim alive later that day. Police averred that if the victim had not been found that night, she likely would have died. And whereas in August of 2025, the assailant was convicted by the First Circuit Solicitor's Office in Dorchester County and sentenced to 50 years in prison after pleading guilty to first-degree burglary and kidnapping. Ms. Johnson's survival is a direct result of her neighbors who trusted their instincts and refused to look the other way. And whereas prosecutors said the assailant had driven across the country after Ms. Johnson stopped sending him money, rented an Airbnb near her home, and waited to assault her when her caregiver was not present. And whereas family members testified in court about the weeks of wound care, physical therapy, and the lasting fear Ms. Johnson has endured since the attack. And whereas the South Carolina House of Representatives values the heroic and selfless actions of neighbors in the Palmetto State, like Patricia and Louis Allende, who appreciate the welfare of others in their community, and the members commend them for boldly coming to the aid of Ms. Johnson. Now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives that the members of the South Carolina House of Representatives by this resolution recognize and honor Louis and Patricia Allende for their courageous and speedy assistance to their neighbor when they saw her being kidnapped, which enabled law enforcement to rescue her quickly. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to Louis and Patricia Allende.
Oh, nice. Chief, you're pointing at me like you want me to say something. I just want to say that this represents the best of Somerville. Neighbors watching out for neighbors. That's what we do here, and that's what makes our town so special. So keep up the great work. Thank you for the example of taking care of your neighbor.
I would like just to say something really quick. This has been probably one of the most satisfying cases that in my 30 years of law enforcement, we were able to solve this. And I knew he's a retired deputy sheriff from Charleston County. I knew him when I was a police explorer 30 years ago. So I was on the scene within minutes, and I was talking to Mr. Hyundai, and we were able to get information passed along for this beautiful young lady right here to be saved. And I could tell you without a shadow of a doubt, prosecutor LaPlante would prosecute the case so well in court, along with our investigators, Howard Masoner and his canine partner. They were instrumental as case agents involved in this case, but we had the community there for us. We had people standing there with me, and then real-time information were giving me accurate information that was being put out to other agencies around the low country. And within probably 3 hours, we had located her in North Charleston. She was in a car underneath the back seat. They put the seats down. She was duct taped and bound with the bag on her head, and she had been beaten badly. And I was there when we took her and put her in the ambulance, and she just wanted to know about her dogs. We've become good friends, and she's gonna be moving away soon. But man, it's just a blessing to know that I saw a friendly face when I showed up that day, and we were able to collaborate like we did, because y'all are awesome.
Hard act to follow, but these guys deserve all the credit for what happened, saving Doty's life.
Yeah.
I want to say how proud I am to live in Somerville and to have such great neighbors in Pine Forest, to have such a great police chief, such a great deputy chief solicitor in Kelly LaPlante. And they did such a great job prosecuting that case. And again, thank you all for everything that you did to help Mr. Loris. And it was all we could do to bring you this resolution. Thank y'all.
I'm certain everyone would love to stay the entire evening, but if you want to, you are free to leave. Representative Robbins, thank you for recognizing one of our citizens. We're greatly appreciative for that. Yes, sir. All right, Madam Clerk, I think we're good to start back.
Next is approval of minutes from prior meetings.
I make a motion, we approve items 5A, B, and C.
A second.
All right, motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Next for public comment, Frank Freeman.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I'm sorry you let everybody go because what I have to say is for them more than for you. I want to speak on the project on Main Street from 5 points to 78. 3 points of it. First, leave the streets alone. Leave them pretty much as they are. You may have some curb work or some drainage work, maybe some lines to be repainted, some traffic signals, some signs, but other than that, leave the streets alone. Number two, the sidewalks. There's plenty of room between the current street right-of-way and most of the property where you're not going to have to build a new Berlin G. Myers Parkway down there. Widen the sidewalk a little bit where you don't have one in some of the gutters, and there will be plenty of room for pedestrians and bicycles to go. And I noticed that there's a lot of sidewalks that are already in. The third part is to get traffic out of downtown. And I would suggest for the residents of Somerville that you allow us to have a city bus service. Now, I'm not talking the big Charleston buses. I'm talking the small vehicles that can maybe hold 10 or 15 people. And if there were enough of them running around in the neighborhoods, coming to downtown, going to Nexton, going to Oak Brook, going to all of the various shopping centers, you would have a much better situation for everything. I wish I had time to let you ask me questions, but I only have a little over a minute. But thank you so much for letting me speak tonight. Thank you.
Dennis Chickless.
Good evening. I'm representing a group of people who are concerned about the Gadsden development, which was developed by Grange Cuthbert and his two partners in the 1980s. The property is in the town of Somerville and was given a development permit by the town of Somerville, not the county of Dorchester. Permit included creation of a street bridge, a small dam, and a valve to lower the pond in case a large storm came, and to remove sediment entering from Briarwood Lane, which used to be a dirt road. Due to a heavy storm water, the pond water would be lowered to counter the increase of water level. To reduce the time to lower the water level by the valve, the town stormwater department dug a passage around the dam. Once the storms passed, the stormwater personnel filled in the path around the dam. Over time, the valve was used once again to empty the pond. But over time, water seeped through the bypassed area. And over time, the pass area leaked more and more. We have some videos to show you and pictures that show how the water increased downstream and also increased over the other side, increasing to both sides. Thank you. Next.
Eddie Phillips.
Good evening. As a follow-up to Dennis Chickless, I'm here to bring council's attention to some additional history of the town's, involvement with the maintenance repair of the pond dam located in Gadsden Manor. I took on the responsibility to maintain the pond's aerator at basic algae control upkeep since 2019. Numerous individuals had this responsibility prior to me. Those individuals, as well as I, have typically sent out a letter to the pond owners on an annual basis to inform them of electricity and various maintenance expenses, to let them know of any issues occurring with the pond and the dam, and their resolution over the past year. In those letters, it was documented on numerous occasions that town personnel had been and were addressing issues with the repair of dam leaks, which have been an ongoing issue for decades. With draining, dredging the pond, which actually occurred twice over the years, having sole possession of the key, as Dennis mentioned, to the drain valve of the dam, and performing annual weed and algae control and addressing flood issues, etc. It was recently brought to our attention that the town has been able to locate any records indicating that the town, there's responsibilities noted above, nor any records pertaining to permitting on the initial construction of the pond and the dam and the bridge across the pond. And as such, towns considering no longer offering this assistance is what we were first told. It's obviously the pond owner's desire for the town to continue performing these duties as has been done in years past. And I want to thank the administration, Russ, your folks, so far in your efforts. You're helping us come up with a long-term solution. And they say that's much appreciated by us. Okay, thank you now.
Joe Kircher.
Evening, Mayor, evening, council. First, I'd like to thank you, Mayor, for meeting with us yesterday with the Gadsden community. Scott, you as well. Really, it means a lot that you came out to meet us. Same with our council members, Ms. Johnson, as well as Mr. Mack. Appreciate you guys for meeting us last week as well. It meant a lot to all of us. We appreciate your willingness to listen and to work with us. It does go a long way with us. We're also grateful for your cooperation and efforts regarding, the longstanding operation with the stormwater, with our pond. For the past 4 decades, the town has been a concerted effort in making sure that the stormwater drain has been taken care of. Just wanted to talk about a little bit about the mosquito population and how that affects the public health. With the dam being broken, it directly affects the entire community with the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes have been getting pretty out of hand. I mean, obviously South Carolina is, we're known for our mosquitoes. It's our state bird. But this is something that, could get out of hand pretty quickly. Obviously, we're doing our part as a community to take care of it in a short-term fashion, as we all talked about, and it's kind of solicited to us. So we've been working on that as neighbors, but just want to say thank you for your help and concerted effort with that. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to our state representative, my favorite state representative, Ms. Jenny Horn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. Thank you for allowing us to come tonight and to give some public comment on this particular issue. I think that it's best that we discuss the issues out in the open because we're all in this age of transparency. So if you look on the deeds and I know the council has requested a title search. I've already done a title search on my lot and had it surveyed. And I have a pond easement and a drainage easement through the pond. And how many of you have fished that pond as a child? I want to see a show of hands. There you go. And Mr. Chickless's 4 grandsons fished that pond because Mr. Chickless at one time stocked that pond. And people to this day still fish on that pond. So we have the easements. We, as a neighborhood, do not have an HOA. The people who live on the pond have historically taken care of the aerator. We cannot run the aerator. We cannot control mosquitoes. I've had to call mosquito abatement for the first time in 20 years of living on the pond. And I've seen storms come through, the 100-year flood, Matthew, whatever. Any time that we had a storm-related issue, the key to the drainage was held by the town, and the town controls that stormwater pond coming in and out of our neighborhood. The dam was put there by the town. We did not put the dam there. The dam was there before many of the houses were even built. So I want to make everyone aware, and I'm sure that this particular pond was a stormwater pond in 1984, and it was modified and created, and the dam was put in there for a reason. And the big pipes that come into the pond are draining the stormwater coming off Parsons, Briarwood, and then it runs downhill. So it's not an aesthetic pond. It's a stormwater pond that's been created and maintained by the town of Somerville. We did not create the pond. The pond was already there. So with that being said, I look forward to working with the mayor, the councilman. Dexter Mack is my councilman. Thank you, Mr. Mack, for always being responsive to us. And thank you for helping us with these issues as we've been plodding through them. And Tiffany Johnson, thank you for your help too, because I know you represent some of the other owners on the other side of Old Postern. Back then, it's worth mentioning, and I know I'm getting to my minute, but you also took on the maintenance of streets in Gadsden Manor in the 80s. And some of the things that y'all did in the 80s, y'all don't do anymore.
Thank you, Ms. Horn. I appreciate you.
Right. Thank you. But if I would like to finish up if that's okay. Just tie it up for a few seconds.
Ms. Horn, we try to be respectful of everybody. I typically hold it pretty hard here.
Okay, well, that's nice to know, Mayor. I appreciate that. I'm sure that we can put it out on our Facebook page if anybody wants to read it. I don't read the Facebook page, but I'll be happy to do so. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Diane Frankenberger.
Miss Beth, am I also allowed to say something about the medians? Okay. Hey there, you all. I wanted to say that I am in agreement of the ordinance to amend the Unified Development Ordinance, which would prohibit vape shops in downtown Somerville. I know that one already exists and it's very well run by nice people and it's not very large, and that would be grandfathered in. So I just want to go on record as saying that I know our culture changes and I defend the right of people to vape, but I don't think it has a place downtown in our mix. The second thing I want to talk about are the proposed medians in on different parts of Main Street, and I happen to like them. And I like the pictures that I've seen. I like it that there are sidewalks on both sides of the road. I feel it's safer for the children and the park when people can come into the middle of the street and pause before they continue to cross. I like the trees. I don't like the palm trees, but I know DOT does not require, thinks that crepe myrtles are trees. And so those are good trees. I would in the middle. A long time ago, there were walks on Main Street, and it was very dangerous for those of us that wanted to walk children to school. Also, people didn't like it when the park got changed, but it looks beautiful. So with all due respect, I think North Main and South Main will look good with medians in the middle and sidewalks and trees that are not palm trees, although they do grow here. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we have just one more for tonight, but it's not until the second session. Would you like to go ahead and do that one now?
Yes, ma'am, that works.
Adrian Quest.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Adrian Quist. I've been a Somerville resident since 1965. Several weeks ago, I attended the Main Street Improvement Project hearing. After reviewing the project, it appeared more like a beautification project rather than a traffic problem solver. When I questioned one of the officials if there would be another public hearing before the final decision is made, I was told no other meeting will be held or scheduled. This project will have a negative impact on the citizens that live on South Main Street by having to detour just to get to their driveways, depending on from which direction they come. By listening to the local news today, there is no mention about citizens' concerns that will change the character of Somerville. There will be many safety concerns by having bikes, scooters, and e-bikes sharing sidewalks with pedestrians. I'm very supportive of public safety, and I have nothing but respect for our police department. But currently, speeding and excessive noise laws lack enforcement. Before this project is up for approval, I urge that this council and county council have an open hearing so the public will have the opportunity to voice their opinion. Having two opposing lanes in the center looks good on paper, but will not improve traffic flow, and is a terrible idea for first responders. Please use common sense and listen to some of our residents rather than approve this plan. This is not a traffic problem solver, but more like taking medication with many side effects. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we don't have any petitions or pending bills and resolutions. So moving on to introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading of an ordinance to amend the Town of Somerville Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 2, Article 2, Division 4, Sections 2-132B and C to provide the Planning Committee, Public Safety Committee, Public Works and Committee on Water Supply, and the Parks and Recreation Committee shall be comprised of the mayor and all council members as a committee of the whole, to designate the Planning Committee to be the Planning and Development Committee, and to add authority to the Finance Committee in regards to the draft council agenda. This request was by Councilmember Johnson.
Mr. Mayor, I motion that we approve first reading of this ordinance.
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second to approve first reading of the ordinance. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that, whether it's a workshop or a committee of all, I think we need an opportunity to come together to address and talk about things before they get to the agenda so we can decide if it is time for it to go on the agenda or if it needs to move forward at all. And when we have these committees with just 2 or 3, it doesn't give all of council an opportunity to weigh in. And I think that sometimes if we can weigh in, it would make our council meetings shorter and more productive. How we do that, whether it's a workshop or a committee of all, or it's procedurally where someone, another council member can come up and speak at the committee. I don't really care how it's done. I just think that needs to be done.
Mr. Mayor, I spoke about this last month and my feelings haven't changed over the course of the last month. I don't support this ordinance amendment just for the sake of, one, we have tried this before back in 2016, 17. It was more or less what we're doing then is we're having 4 council meetings on Monday night and 1 council meeting tonight. It seems redundant to me at best, but secondly to that, and maybe even a more important point is what we're doing here is we're, as a council as a whole, the purpose of having the committee is so there's no real power within that committee. The purpose of that committee is to work it out with our staff members, whatever issues they brought before us, so we can discuss it, address it, and then that committee makes a recommendation to the council. Whether we take action or something, when we're meeting as a whole on Monday night, we're meeting as one body. So essentially the decision gets made on Monday night. And I don't think that's the intent of our governing body, the way we were set up to do business. We have a council meeting on Thursday night by ordinance for a reason, for us to conduct that business on Thursday night and make those decisions on Thursday night. Now, I know we can say we're not going to vote Thursday night or Monday night, but essentially when we discuss something and take action on Monday night as one body, we are essentially making the decision. Thank you.
Council members, other discussion? Yes, sir.
One more thing, sorry. We spent a lot of time this week and recent weeks talking about improved communication. I think a good example of how this could work was our budget workshop recently, where the 7 of us and our town administrator and our town staff had a chance to really get a lot of work done because we were all able to contribute to the conversation. I am in favor of improved communication, whether we do it as a committee as a whole or if we do it in a workshop setting. I think this is something that we need to do, and it needs to be done in a public setting like this, not with so many emails and phone calls and things that otherwise might have to happen to communicate effectively. So I'm absolutely in favor of improved communication, whether we do it in this way or a workshop. I'll let the rest of you decide that.
Any other comments? I'll just, Councilwoman, did you have one? I saw you light up. Okay. I'll just, from listening to this and we had an example this week, as a matter of fact, where an item was publicly communicated as something that could possibly be implemented. It went to our committee meeting, and in the committee meeting, it wasn't properly vetted at the lower level of our committee meeting, and it was forwarded to full council for discussion this evening. However, between the time of committee meetings to the time of our meeting tonight, it was found that it's not even feasible. I heard not only from a council member who looked at it in more detail, but also our staff communicated that it was not even feasible, and it was actually publicly communicated. And I think it creates a lot of confusion. I would encourage us to not involve everybody in all of the vetting every step of the way. We have access to these committee meetings. We listen to them. We can talk to the committee chairs. We can talk to staff individually. But we ask the committee of 3 to do the hard vetting and bring recommendations forward to us to do the work of getting the answers to a point where we don't waste all of council members' time. I think it's a way of improving the efficiency of how we operate. So I am actually not in favor of the change, but I'll go ahead and call for the question if there's no other discussion. All right. All those in favor of first reading, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
And I'm a nay.
Item B, first reading of an ordinance to amend the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 3, Section 3, Table of Permitted Uses, and Chapter 3, Section 3.4.5, subsection E1A, so as to remove DMX and UCMX as zoning districts where tobacco, tobacco alternative, CBD alternative sales stores are conditionally approved. The request was by Councilmember Johnson.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we approve item 9B as written.
Oh, second. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve first reading of 9B. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, before we get into discussion, I'd like to amend that motion that we go ahead and send this item to our planning commission to get it started through that process. If I can have a second.
Okay, so
To amend the motion to go ahead and send it to the planning commission.
okay, do we have a second on the amended motion?
I second it.
All right, we have a motion and seconds on the amended motion. Any discussion on the amendment to send it through and get our planning commission?
Mr. Mayor, I'm actually in favor of this ordinance as well, and that's the reason for asking to send it on to the planning commission so we can go and get it moving through that process, have our public hearing, and then get on back to us so we can make our two votes and get it in place.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Vote.
Do we need to vote on the amended, the motion as amended?
Yes.
Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. This will go to planning commission and we'll have two readings at a subsequent date.
Under miscellaneous, item A, authorization for Somerville Police Department to enter into an MOU with North Charleston Police Department for Street Intelligence Unit Task Force.
Mr. Mayor, I move we postpone this item until staff notifies us that it's ready.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to postpone. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Item B, Mr. Slatton, did you want to address that? The reappointment of the clerk of court?
Yes, with your permission,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Mayor, Council. The state statute does actually does not require a ministerial recorder to be appointed to a term. Section 14-25-115 states that municipal ministerial recorders serve at the pleasure of council. Since Ms. Pitcock has already been appointed and has taken her oath, there's no need for us to have this item in front of you. Judge Jameson was under the impression that she needed a term, and that is not correct. So she will continue to serve until she either resigns, retires, or you replace her, which I hope you won't do.
All right, no action needed. Thank you, sir.
Item C, approval of changes to the special events permit guide as presented in the February 9th, 2026 Standing Committee Agenda Packet.
I'll make a motion that we approve that special events permit guide as presented.
Second.
All right, motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Item D, discussion of dam and pond in Gadsden Manor. The Public Works and Committee on Water Supply moved the item to full council for further discussion at its meeting on February 9th, 2026.
Mr. Slatton, do you want to give us an update on where we are there?
Yes, Mayor. So as we discussed Monday night, the town has been in pursuit of engineering firms to come and take a look at the dam and provide with us an assessment and potential solutions for repair or replacement of the dam. Simultaneously, the town has been researching the legal ownership and the easements that are present in the dam or in the pond and around the pond. Our abstractor is working at the ROD office as we speak to try and find all of the documents that we need in order to ensure that if you move forward, that we are within the legal frameworks that we should be. We have had 4 engineering firms come out and actually take a look at the dam. 2 have already submitted proposals for an assessment and we're waiting on the other two. Once we get those, we will choose one of those firms to begin an assessment, and then depending on, they'll present you with options as a part of that assessment for what to do. Once those assessments are or those options are presented to you, then you will make the choice as to how to proceed forward, and then obviously construction would take place after that. So we hope that we'll get responses from the other two engineering firms very soon, but to have two in hand, we're happy about that, and we're moving as expeditiously as we can as a staff.
Thank you, Mr. Slatton. I want to thank the community from Gadsden for your communication and patience with us through the process. At one of the meetings that have been held in regards to the dam, I apologize last night as this process has evolved. I have said some things that I have found not to be completely accurate over the period of time, and I do owe you an apology there. Once it was brought to Scott Slatton, you know, we're looking at what we need to do to make sure this is done the correct way, the legal way, and not just the old way of doing business. And I believe this council is committed to doing that, to make sure it's fair and transparent. As information comes in, as you have requested, we will immediately get that information to you so that everybody's on the same sheet of music. And I would just advocate to council before I open up for discussion that we seek out temporary solutions to provide some relief while this process works out. And I think there's some cost-effective ways that we could partner together and get that done. So, council members, any discussion on this item?
Yes, sir. In being fair, there's numerous ponds in my district, one of which the entire shopping center of Big Lots comes into the back of Parish Park, and the water, I told them if it comes inside, we'll try to do something. It's almost less than an inch from their doorstep. I mean, it's up the doorstep to go in. And if we're going to start taking care of private ponds, we need to take care of all of them.
Mr. Slatton, can you confirm if the estimates that we have, do you believe will be under the procurement threshold that staff will be able to make the decision to go hire someone, or will that need to come back to?
Yeah, no, the two that we've received so far are under the procurement threshold of $50,000. And so under our procurement code, that does not have to come back in front of council. But of course, we will provide you with all of the responses that we get and make our recommendation to you, just so that you all will have that information in your hand. And I'll also, if I may real quickly, say that my hope and expectation is that we'll have those other two proposals in hand before the budget meeting on February the 26th.
Any other, Councilman Holter?
It's not often we get to talk about damn problems.
Well, we have plenty of them.
I'm certain we can come up with a damn solution. I will say I'm not in favor of fixing this pond. However, as you see the sign in the store, if you break it, you bought it. I think it's setting an unfair precedent, because there are literally 8,000 detention ponds all over this town. But it's pretty clear that the town has put their hands all over that pond over the decades. And we can talk about at the future finance meeting how to pay for that. But I also want to very clearly have an understanding of how it's going to be maintained going forward.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments? There's no action to be taken. Ms. Slatton, thank you for the update.
Item E, consider and take desired action on proposal of a new parking lot to be built near the pickleball courts on Laurel Street Park. The Public Works and Committee on Water Supply made the item to full council for further discussion at its meeting on February 9th, 2026.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table this item. I'll second.
All right, motion and a second to table. Any discussion? Hearing none.
I just mentioned real quick that we, after further review, we realized that that was not a possibility, that parking lot space is not a possibility, and that's the reason for tabling this.
All right, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Discussion of adding open burn regulations into the town's code of ordinances. The Public Safety Committee voted to move this item to full council for further discussion at its meeting on February 9th, 2026.
And Mr. Mayor, I think I'm the one that asked for this to go forward for more discussion. I think the one thing that I was concerned about is any burning of items other than leaves or debris in someone's at their residence, things that they shouldn't be burning, like their regular trash items or electronic things. I just feel that we need something on record and perhaps times, like no burning debris after 5 p.m. I know that's, when someone has a fire pit, that's a little bit different. But I just wanted to bring that forward and see any other discussion and thoughts of council.
My thought would be one, the fire chief said that they usually get a pretty good response when they come out. I think leaves are one of the worst things you can burn because it'll wipe out a whole neighborhood. So I think if we just made it no burning in Somerville, that's why we have debris pickup, leaf pickup. All you gotta do is take it to the road. That's easier than burning it, and it doesn't affect anybody. So
I think with these ordinances and my career, they never stop people from burning. And that's something that's a big key point to remember with these. I remember times riding fire trucks, I would wind up in disputes between neighbors because two neighbors are having a dispute with each other. So they would call the fire department anytime someone wanted to go cook s'mores in their back and they would drive over their kids. So those are the kind of things that we're putting our employees in the middle of when we respond to these. As the chief said the other night, that, we might get 7 to 10, maybe 15 calls a year on these types of calls. And historically, when I was working on the other side of this bench right here, I didn't ever push the burn ordinance for the same reason. We don't get a lot of calls for that, and the community is very responsive when we go out. When we went out, and would always abide by what we directed them to do and put the fire out if it was causing a problem. That's really all I have to say about it. I think we're okay. The EPA, our Environmental Protection Agency, DHEC, and those organizations are there that can come out and be notified if someone's burning non-vegetative debris in their yard. I agree with Mr. Jackson. I don't think that we should be burning leaves are tough. They put out a lot of smoke, and that's why we have the policy where people, if someone calls us, we'll come and ask them to extinguish the fire. So.
Yeah, I agree with Councilman Waring on this. I'm not really for adding more regulations on people. I think our fire chiefs and police chiefs do a good job at taking the calls and instructing the people to follow in direction. If they're burning something they shouldn't be burning, I think people are pretty good about putting that out and following the instruction of the fire chiefs and police chiefs. So I would just caution against additional regulations.
All right. Any other comments? I would just say I'm looking here. There's no action required on this item since it's an item for discussion, unless somebody wanted to make a motion. But I would be very concerned if someone called the fire department on me when I have my fire pit going in the backyard. And I think if we leave it to the discretion of the chief and the professionals in the fire services industry, that if they reach out to us, that, we can certainly implement something if it is a public safety matter. Anybody have any more comments? All right.
Item G, consideration of town's participation in painting the town project and monetary request from Councilmember Garden.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to postpone this item indefinitely.
I'll second.
All right. Motion and a second to postpone indefinitely. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
There being no further public comment, on to executive session, economic development and personnel matters.
Mr. Mayor, I move we enter executive session for discussion of matters related to the proposed location, expansion, and provision of services encouraging location or expansion of industries or other businesses at the property owned by Interfor. And item B, personnel matter related to appointments to the Board of Architectural Review, architect seat and cultural arts representative seat.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second to go into executive session, discuss matters related to proposed location expansion or the provision of services encouraging location or expansion of industries or other businesses at the property owned by Interfor, and personnel matter related to appointments to the Board of Architectural Review, architect seat, and cultural arts representative seat. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are in executive session.